For centuries, people have looked at these structures and wondered, who were the people buried inside? And more importantly, how were their bodies preserved so perfectly for thousands of years? To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end, but the beginning of a new journey, one that required careful preparation. Their belief was simple yet profound. The body must remain intact so the soul could recognize it and return to it in the afterlife. This belief sparked one of the most intricate and mysterious practices in human history: mummification, a craft so precise that modern scientists still study it with awe. Inside small workshops near the Nile, skilled embalmers worked quietly and respectfully, treating every body as a sacred vessel. And although the world around them was filled with superstition and myth, their work was grounded in surprising amounts of science, chemistry, and anatomical understanding. In this journey, we will step into their world, walking through ancient embalming chambers, studying the tools they used, and uncovering the secret scientific process that allowed a human body to survive thousands of years unharmed. Inside the embalming workshop, the air feels cool and dim, protected from the harsh desert sun by thick mud brick walls. Clay oil lamps flicker along the shelves, casting wobbling shadows that dance across baskets of tools, linen rolls, and jars marked with ancient symbols. When a body arrived, the embalmers moved with calm precision, as if performing a ritual they had memorized since childhood. Their first task was simple but essential: cleaning the body to remove the dust of the desert and the marks of a long journey. Warm water from the Nile, mixed with aromatic herbs, was poured gently over the skin, both to cleanse and to prepare it for the long process ahead. The embalmers understood the human body more than most people realize. They knew that decay began from within, where the heat and moisture of the organs would quickly cause the body to break down. So with steady hands, they began the delicate work of removing the organs, carefully placing each one in special jars known today as canopic jars, each guarded by a protective deity. The heart, however, was left inside, for they believed it was the center of memory, emotion, and identity, the piece of a person that had to stay with them forever. This decision, blending spiritual belief with anatomical understanding, became one of the defining features of Egyptian mummification. Once the organs were removed, the body needed to be dried completely to stop decay. The embalmers covered it with natron, a natural mineral mixture found in the desert, capable of absorbing moisture like nothing else in the ancient world. Over the next several weeks, the body slowly transformed, losing water, tightening, and becoming preserved in a way that still astonishes scientists today. This careful preparation marked the beginning of the body's journey toward immortality, turning flesh into something closer to time-resistant stone. And for the embalmers, this was only the start of the sacred process that would soon continue with oils, resins, and wrapping rituals known across Egypt as an art form of its own. Once the organs were carefully removed and stored, the embalmers began the most scientific part of the entire process. Drying the body completely, they lifted the body onto a low wooden table and covered it with natron, a white, grainy mineral found in the desert that worked like ancient supersalt. Natron absorbed moisture faster than anything the world had at the time, pulling every drop of water out of the skin and muscles. For the next several weeks, the workshop stayed quiet as the body slowly changed. The heat of the desert helped the natron do its work, while the embalmers checked the progress every few days, brushing away old salt and adding new bit by bit. The body became lighter and firmer, the soft tissues tightening until the embalmers could tell it was finally safe from decay. When the drying was complete, the natron was brushed away, and aromatic oils were rubbed into the skin to strengthen it. Tree resins, thick and sticky, acted like natural glue and antibacterial armor, sealing the body against future damage. By the end of this stage, the person was no longer simply a body. They had become a preserved vessel ready for the long journey into eternity. With the body cleaned, dried, and protected, the embalmers prepared for the most recognizable part of mummification: wrapping. Long sheets of linen were brought out, some thin, some thick, each one carefully cut into strips. The embalmers dipped these strips into warm resin, making them slightly sticky so each new layer would bond to the one beneath it. Then, the wrapping began. Starting with the fingers and toes, they wrapped each limb slowly, layer upon layer, turning the body into a carefully built sculpture. Between some of the layers, they placed protective amulets, scarabs for rebirth, eyes for protection, and symbols of life meant to watch over the soul. As the wrapping continued, priests read spells that were believed to open the way into the next world. By the time the final layer was added, the person was hidden beneath hundreds of meters of linen, transformed into a sacred figure of timeless importance. The mummy was finally ready, not just preserved, but spiritually armed for the afterlife. While the embalmers worked, others prepared the tomb, another essential part of the journey. Workers carved symbols, prayers, and guiding spells onto the walls, each designed to help the soul navigate the dangers of the afterlife. Food offerings, such as bread, beer, fruits, and preserved meats were placed inside, ensuring the person would never go hungry in the next world. Tools, clothing, jewelry, and personal treasures were arranged neatly in the chambers, representing everything the person might need beyond death. The sarcophagus, often decorated with vibrant colors, waited at the center of the tomb. When the mummy arrived, priests performed the opening of the mouth ceremony, believed to restore the ability to breathe, speak, and sense in the afterlife. Once placed inside the sarcophagus, the mummy was surrounded by incense and prayers. The final stone was slid into place, echoing softly through the tomb as it sealed shut in that moment. The person's journey shifted from the world of the living to the realm of the eternal. Today, when scientists examine these ancient mummies, they find layers of surprising knowledge hidden within the process. The Egyptians may not have had microscopes or modern chemistry, but they understood decay, preservation, and anatomy in ways far beyond their time. Natron worked like a perfect drying agent. Resins acted as natural antibacterial barriers. Oils strengthened and protected the skin, and the wrapping technique distributed pressure so evenly that the body stayed intact for thousands of years. But behind every scientific step was a deep spiritual belief that the body was a home for the soul, and preserving it was an act of love, respect, and hope. Mummification was never just science and never just religion. It was a powerful mixture of both. And because of that balance, the ancient Egyptians achieved something incredible. They preserved human faces, bodies, and stories for more than 3,000 years, allowing us to meet people from a world long gone.